In this video, we are going to show you our skirmish wargame rules called 20 Minutes to Victory and talk about how we evolved them into the current version. In 2019, we took our fast-playing audience participation wargame to Salute and won Best in Show. 20 Minutes to Victory was built around a simple idea: quick, engaging games where strategy, luck and storytelling all played a role. We ran a 7-game mini-campaign over the course of the one-day event, inspired by the classic 1980 Flash Gordon film, using Lego-built terrain and figures. It was a hit, and we knew we had something special. Development of the original rule set was a combined effort between my friend Simon and my brother Richard, but great ideas can always be refined. Over the past year, Stuart has helped evolve 20 Minutes to Victory into a version 2 that keeps the fast-paced action but improves the mechanics for even smoother play. And today we're going to talk about how we developed the game, what we changed, and why we find it's one of the best ways to run a fast-paced tabletop experience. You can check out our rules at 20minutestovictory.com and the scenario, and you can check out the gameplay from our live stream. I'm going to put a link in the description. Let's start with the original design philosophy of 20 Minutes to Victory.
Thanks, Noel. So when Noel and I first spoke about 20 Minutes, I love the idea. I'm a big fan of tabletop classics. I've played 40k since Rogue Trader. I'm a keen chess player and a big fan of modern board games. And I'd always wanted to have a go at game creation. So kicking around some ideas with Noel, the idea of accessibility and inclusiveness really took hold. We wanted a game that could be played quickly by anyone and without the usual barriers to wargaming. So no tape measures, no tokens, no complicated rules. A game that could be played by anyone with whatever toys and stuff they had. So just pure fun. And as each game lasted only 20 minutes, we wanted to compel players to make decisive moves without overanalyzing. But it couldn't just be about speed. We also wanted to emphasize the narrative-driven play that won the award in the first place. Therefore, winning wasn't just about eliminating opponents. It was about achieving objectives, using charm or tactics to influence events. And that resulted in making memorable moments and, frankly, just having fun.
So I think what made the Salute's 2019 experience so successful was that thematically we struck gold with Flash Gordon. Okay, the inspiration, the mix of swashbuckling, adventure, pulpy villains and epic locations made for a visually striking and fun experience. And because we built everything in Lego, it was immediately inviting. People who might not normally play a war game were drawn in. I remember one game we played where we had 5 or 6 participants, where our youngest player was about 4 or 5 years old, and then the oldest was around 70, which really shows the wide appeal of the game. The 20-minute format meant we could run multiple linked games in one day, giving players an evolving story rather than a single skirmish. And some players in the early games returned for more later. But taking it back home, we knew we couldn't recreate that table every time we played it. We knew we needed to evolve the mechanics to suit whatever genre or table we were playing on.
So one of the things that makes 20 Minutes really different to most quick play war games is the movement. Many games still rely on traditional mechanics, measuring distances, tracking tokens, or managing loads and loads and loads of special rules. We wanted to strip all of that back so it was intuitive and simple, and focus on the fast cinematic action by using movement zones on the board with easily rememberable rule mechanics about where characters can move, how far they can shoot, and things like that.
So it was a big deal at Salute and a big factor in the appeal of the game. So we didn't want to lose that aspect. Each character takes their turn in initiative order, and that aspect of not actually measuring the move really speeds up play.
Yeah, the concept of movement zones was the key concept we wrestled with as we simplified the rules. How do people move, shoot, pick stuff up, throw it through the air like a superhero can? And in the end, we came up with the concept of moving to another zone as an action and moving within a zone and combining this with another action for free. So moving and shooting, moving and fighting, or picking up and throwing an item. And then we simplified everything. So range, cover, everything to a simple -5 on the dice, so there wasn't some complicated mechanic.
And I think the biggest area for improvement was refining that conflict resolution system, which you've just been alluding to. For example, shooting and melee combat. Originally, we used a token-based mechanic, which simulated an opposed dice roll, but it had huge drawbacks, mostly in terms of pacing and clarity.
Yeah, so the tokens worked functionally, but they felt like a big extra step that slowed things down. We wanted something that kept the action flowing, but without losing the depth of the sort of tactical decision making. The biggest challenge we had in version 2 was the switch to opposed dice rolls. It streamlines the combat and skills checks. It makes everything feel a bit more intuitive. And it also means that players are always actively involved in the game, even when it's not their turn. With this, players still resolve situations quickly, but now there's a more dynamic back and forth rather than sort of element, rather than someone being a passive victim to someone else's dice roll. The other important part of innovation came with the character design. We wanted to keep the emphasis on variety and being able to play and win in different ways. Each character then has say charm for misdirection, intelligence for technical use, which can be far more important than brute force or marksmanship. That was a key part of the original design, and we've simply just refined it and honed it in version 2. Lastly, I spent an awful lot of time on the one-use powers and for each character and the general character design. This was to make them feel like the characters they were playing and actually perform like they do. The Hulk, for example, has a one-use intimidating roar, where he uses strength instead of his low intelligence to charm someone out of the way. Being one use, it can be key to the tactical nuance of the game. In contrast, Black Widow starts in disguise and can use charm frequently to misdirect enemies and move them out the way as the combat troops head in. This adds a really great level of variety as people try new things out and find new ways to win.
One thing we didn't touch is the time limit. We decided to introduce this to keep the games frantic. I know plenty of games out there that put a time limit on, say, the number of turns or something like that, but we decided to set an actual time limit of 20 minutes for each game.
Yeah, this was quite important because in the scenario design, we tried to create something that compelled both players to take actions quickly as they move towards their objective. Could they get to the end of the maze? Could they complete their objective in the 20-minute time limit? And as things progress, this basically creates a very, very tense environment where people are racing through their turns to try to get to the end. And it's been just great fun.
Yeah, and I guess one final thing to talk about is the umpire or Gamesmaster. We usually have to have this to run the games effectively at the moment and join all that narrative together. So if you check out our live stream, you'll see we can play at pace because we both know the rules and understand the objectives and the narrative. But when we play as an audience participation, the Gamesmaster is really important to keep that play flowing fast and frantic.
From my perspective, we always simply show is we explain to people how the move mechanic works, how the shoot mechanic works, which is very, very straightforward, and charm suppression and a few little things like that. And then within a couple of minutes, we give people a character and we just get going. And I think that's just an awesome way to be able to play a game. You can explain it to your friend in 2-3 minutes and get on with it.
We've had a great time developing 20 Minutes to Victory into what it is today. And now that we've play tested it extensively and run a mini campaign for our Club Open Day with the version 2 rules, we're excited to see more people try it out. If you're interested in playing, You can download the rules for free at 20minutestovictory.com. All you need is a small set of miniatures, a play area and some dice to get started. It's perfect for conventions, game nights or just a quick session when you don't have hours to set up and play.
We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see people having fun with our game.
If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe. And if you've played it or you've got any questions for us, please let me know in the comments.